Hey everybody, and welcome back to FabCon TV. My name is Noah. I am part of our product marketing team here, and I'm sitting down today with Kyle Hale from Databricks, one of the lead product specialists there, focused on BI and data warehousing. Thank you for joining us today, Kyle.
Yeah, thanks for having me, Noah.
Yeah, we really appreciate you being here. Can you tell us a bit about yourself and your role at Databricks?
Yeah, sure. So, like you said, I'm a lead product specialist focusing on BI and data warehousing. So, helping all our customers understand our products in that space, our roadmap, helping them answer questions about Power BI. That's a lot of times I spend. And just by way of background, before coming to Databricks, I spent my entire career building Microsoft BI stacks from on-prem data marts and data warehouses all the way up through the cloud and Power BI. Found my way to Databricks 5 years ago. Been here ever since.
Nice, that's awesome. We're super glad to have Databricks here as a sponsor at FabCon and SQLCon. Kind of a demonstration of the depth of our partnership. What's your favorite part of coming to events like this?
Oh, definitely the people. I love the laid back atmosphere. I love BI people. They're my people. Just the vibe here is very relaxing. I've been over at the SQLCon once a time. It's a little more uptight, so just love that relaxing atmosphere here. I like talking to everybody about their problems and just hearing all the new stuff that's coming out. Very exciting.
Yeah, it's awesome. Yeah, and for the folks at home, Kyle actually has some fans here in the audience. He's already been kind of waved at, so we love to have a celebrity on stage.
Nice.
Kyle, Databricks recently announced the launch of Lakebase.
Yes.
Could you tell us a bit about the value to customers? How is it solving their business problems?
Yeah, no, fantastic. So, I mean, when we think about today with the traditional lake house, we've been focusing on OLAP workloads, typical analytical workloads, and we've never really focused on the transactional side, but we saw a real need to bring that same type of architecture, the instant on compute, the availability of transactional systems to our users as well. And so really putting it into the same unified platform just adds a lot of value for the governance layer that sits underneath them. And obviously just the compute and being able to kind of move between those systems in a nice, simple, unified platform. So we just see like it's just a natural evolution of our platform extending to a typical use case that previously we just hadn't really spent a lot of energy and cycles on, but now we've decided it's a really great area to focus. It goes hand in hand with our new Databricks apps. So being able to do app development with that transactional and then have a really nice lake house behind it is just a really powerful combination.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, we see a lot of people starting to invest more in this area,
Yeah.
understanding how AI is kind of changing that landscape. So
Yeah.
awesome. So over the last few months, we've announced kind of a deeper integration between Databricks and Fabric. For customers out there who are using both solutions, how do you see our solutions complementing each other?
Yeah, well, I mean, just the big thing is just interoperability. That's the new world we live in with AI and being able to access these tools, MCP servers and APIs. We want to make interoperability between where your data is, where your compute is, where your problems are, where your users are. Just making sure that there's just no barriers between those. So we just really spend a lot of time focusing on making sure that whether your data is starts in Databricks and ends in Fabric or vice versa, we just want to make sure that those flows work in both directions, that you have access to those platforms, and we make it really seamless to do that. So it's just been a really core journey for us, like with the announcement of Fabric and kind of the over time, and we've just been evolving and building more and more of those capabilities. I think we're almost at a golden state now. There's still always a few more things to work on in the product, but this year with the big announcements and kind of like making sure that your data in Databricks works really awesome inside Fabric and vice versa is just a really it's just a core journey for everybody here, so you don't have to pick and choose, between these things and have to, rationalize decisions where, oh, because there's barriers instead of, what's the right use case for my problem.
Yeah, absolutely. So maybe on a slightly more like technical level,
hmm
how does the integration, for folks who may not be as familiar, how does the integration between the Databricks platform and Microsoft OneLake work?
Yeah, so it's really straightforward today. So with Unity Catalog, if you're not familiar with Databricks, so we have a platform for Unity Catalog where that's where you govern your data and your permissions, security, and so on. And what we've done is we made sure that both OneLake itself can be onboarded into Unity Catalog as a location. So that means that once you put some data in OneLake, you register it in Unity Catalog, and then you can read that data and write to it from Databricks. And then in reverse, if you have data that's sitting in Unity Catalog, that's sitting in ADLS, that's sitting in your Azure storage accounts, you can also register that directly in OneLake through mirroring, and then you can make that data available to yourself in Fabric. So in notebooks, in Power BI and in Warehouse and Lakehouse and all the applications you have over there. So we've just made it literally bi-directional. So both sides have a way to pick up the other person's storage and make that data available for the other person's compute. So we've just made that really straightforward. It's a couple of clicks in Unity Catalog, a couple of clicks in Fabric, and you're good to go.
Awesome. Yeah, and you mentioned Unity Catalog and kind of some of the governance work that you all do. How do you see, Unity Catalog and Fabric's governance models kind of complementing each other?
Yeah, absolutely. So, I mean, like Unity Catalog is an operational catalog for Databricks, and obviously Fabric has its own operational catalog with the Governance Hub, some of the capabilities there, and then you've got Purview sitting kind of on top of all of these, so as a catalog of catalogs. And so, really, the way you see it is like, again, you want to govern your data as close to where the data is as possible. And then when you have these extensions into, for example, agents or applications that are consuming it, regardless of, again, either direction, you want to still have this kind of like overview lens with Purview. So we see this as a really nice complement of Purview being able to see into both worlds, and then having Unity Catalog kind of being able to, again, see that Fabric Governance Hub. And then all that mirroring that's happening from Unity Catalog means that your Fabric Governance Hub doesn't govern that data, but it can see and respects that governance. And that's a really big part of governance, is just it travels with the data, and not necessarily that you have to go rewrite rules or do things in two places. So the fact that these two tools can respect each other's governance and kind of apply it out there, and then Purview is that nice lens, just really, really complete solution for someone who's using both as tools.
Yeah, we love that. So what do you think are some of the new possibilities that open up when the Databricks ecosystem and the Fabric ecosystem, work more seamlessly together?
Well, I kind of touched on it earlier, but I mean, just AI is just changing the game for all of us. It's going to be part of our lives for the rest of our careers at this point. So get used to it. And I think a big part of this is like AI operates on the foundational piece of it is still governance, and that includes semantic governance, that includes context governance, and that includes understanding your users and their use cases. And I think a big part of this interoperability that we've been talking about is what enables those agents to move faster, because the barriers to delivering those successful solutions with AI and actually being able to use these is the lack of governance, lack of context, or any sort of barrier between the two systems. So all the interoperability, those core capabilities we're building, is going to feed into helping you as a developer to develop faster and have trust in the things that you are developing. And then your users, in turn, to trust these applications you're building that use AI and are chatting with their data or are looking at pipelines and doing time assessments. That governance and that semantic governance in particular is going to be a really critical path. And so all this interoperability just like really unlocks those things to move faster. And we kind of, there's an old adage of slow is smooth and smooth is fast. I think it's governed is smooth and smooth is fast. So, really focus on that, and your AI solutions and kind of the value that it will add to your business is really going to take off.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Cool. Well, thank you so much for your time, Kyle. We're, like I said, super happy to have you here today, and excited for the next chapter in our partnership.
Yeah, absolutely. Thank you for having me, Noah. I really appreciate it.
Yeah, appreciate it. Thank you.
What a conversation. Everything you've been watching here was captured live at FabCon and SQLCon in Atlanta, from the interviews to the demos to the community insights that make these events so special. If you're into Microsoft Fabric, SQL, and the future of data, make sure you hit the like button and subscribe so you don't miss what's coming next. And speaking of next, we're taking this show to Barcelona. FabCon and SQLCon Barcelona are happening this September 2026, and it's going to be packed with big announcements, deep technical sessions, and one amazing global data community. Hit the link in the description or scan the QR code on the screen to register and use code FABTV to save €200 off your ticket. As always, thank you so much for watching. Keep being awesome, and we'll see you in the next one.